Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2012 Alien prequel, Prometheus. The film is directed, of course, by the legendary Sir Ridley Scott, and it stars Noomi Rapace, Logan Marshall Green, Michael Fassbender, Charlize Theron, Idris Elba, and Guy Pearce. Now, the film follows the crew of the Prometheus, a ship that is essentially sent to find the origins of our creation, if you like. There are a couple of archaeologists on board, Elizabeth Shaw and Charlie Holloway, who on Earth have found evidence that we potentially were created by beings from another planet who have left a map or an invitation to come and find them. So this mission is put together and the Prometheus is sent on its way. Once the crew reach their location, they start exploring and realise that the answers they seek, for the most part, have long gone. But what they do find is horror and terror. Right, what are my thoughts on Prometheus? Well, to follow on from my Aliens franchise review, I did ask the question on my Alien Resurrection review if anybody was interested in me reviewing Prometheus and Alien Covenant and the Aliens vs Predators films. I'll do it. And there was, some responses that were keen for me to do that, so I thought, why not? It's a while since I've seen Prometheus, and I'm not going to lie, I remember the first time I watched Prometheus, I wasn't overly impressed. After rewatching it, I think this is the third time I've seen it now. This is one of those films that I think is growing on me every time I watch it. I think that's fair to say. I actually don't mind the film anymore now. I think it is actually pretty good. And I think my initial reaction to this when I first saw it is probably very similar to many fans of this franchise. Didn't really feel like an Alien film. But Ridley Scott kind of warned us, didn't he? Now, when Ridley Scott announced that he was doing like an Alien prequel, well, I don't think he ever officially called it an Alien prequel. He always wanted this to be like a standalone film that is set in the Alien universe, so to speak, and is obviously directly linked to the Alien film. Now, when we all found out that he was doing this film, we all got stupidly excited because Alien is a classic. We all know this. For him to come back to this franchise was deeply exciting. And then when everybody went and saw this film, myself included, it was a bit like, that's not what I expected. And you felt a bit deflated by it. But I think it is fair to say that regardless of whether Ridley Scott wanted to make an Alien prequel or not, I think that is exactly what this film has become. Because it is, it's boxed together with, the other Alien films on box sets and things like that. I've got it myself. And it is pretty much regarded by many as, the Alien prequel sort of thing that it set out not to be. So once you kind of make that distinction and you watch it with kind of fresh eyes and a more critical eye, if you like, I think this film is in actual fact a very, very good science fiction film with elements of horror thrown in there when it needs it. It's not as impactful or scary or terrifying as the first Alien, but it's not meant to be. But there are definitely moments in this film that will have you literally gripping onto your seat with fear. Ridley Scott is the master at that sort of thing when he does it. And the film, for me, absolutely delivers that. I think there are things about this film that it's hard to get past. Even though ever since this film has come out, there have been explanations. For me, the tech doesn't make sense in this film. It's far more advanced than any of the technology we saw in the first Alien, and that is set several years after this, at least 2 decades, maybe a little bit more. But Ridley Scott has tried to explain that away, basically saying that, the crew in the first film, the Alien, were basically grease monkeys, and they were given like second-hand equipment, basically. They had to make do. They weren't really valued employees, so to speak. Whereas this team have been given, the pinnacle of technology at that time to complete this mission. I accept that explanation, but I mean, the tech in this film is just light years ahead of the technology that we see in Alien. the fact that, and this is a bugbear that I had with Alien Covenant as well, the fact that they just, even though they say the air is breathable, that they just start taking the helmets off is just beyond stupid. You know, you just cannot fathom the stupidity of them doing that sort of thing. Idris Elba, much as I love him, I can't struggle to get past his dodgy accent in this film. It's this, and generally speaking, he does a really good American accent. I don't necessarily put a lot of stock in his American accent in this one, and I don't see why he couldn't have just stuck to his normal accent in this film. It just seemed a little bit odd. And the fact that them two kind of, that biologist and that other guy, that scientist, where they kind of get left behind overnight, and then they start playing around with an alien creature like it's some kind of puppet, and that doesn't end well, as you could expect. Charlize Theron's performance is odd. She's supposed to play like this cold-hearted, really matter-of-fact character, and it kind of feels a little bit out of place. She feels more like more of an android than Michael Fassbender's character, but I do have to really compliment Michael Fassbender's performance here. I think it's fantastic as David. Really, really good. As is Noomi Rapace. I never know how to say it. Is it Rapace? I don't know. I'll say Noomi Rapace. Performance is really, really good, as well as Elizabeth Shaw. I would have liked to have seen more of her in this franchise. I think it's a shame what happened to her in Alien Covenant. And I think the film also suffers from too many characters. There's too many faceless characters. So when you start losing the characters in this film, a good portion of them, you don't know who they are at some point. They start dropping like flies. Some of them, you're like, well, I don't even know that character's name. But I think all of them are kind of minor niggles, but they do kind of add up and make the film feel a little bit unbalanced and a little bit confused at times. But it's also, I think, a beautifully shot film that is absolutely stunning to look at. Beautiful. I mean, it really is beautifully shot. And it is edge of the seat stuff at times, and very, very exciting. And the last 30, 40 minutes of the film, really tread very heavily into like pure horror, and feel very much like a film that belongs in the Alien franchise. So, yeah, I think this film has definitely. I've warmed up to this film now as the years have gone on, and I do think it is a worthy entrant into the Alien franchise. And if I ever do rank the films, this would certainly, in my opinion, be above Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection. I just think it's a superb science fiction film first, and I do think a worthy addition to the Alien franchise as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Coming up very soon on the channel will be my review for Alien Covenant. I will be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.